So here we are in Sydney Harbour. This is one of the places I miss the most when I'm in Amsterdam. This place is just unreal. There's not many places in the world where you have a concert hall and an opera house right on the harbour in a location as beautiful as this. Australia. This is iconic Sydney jasmine covering the little terrace houses. Miss that in Amsterdam. Here we are behind my old high school, Newtown High School of the Performing Arts, which is where I was able to conduct an orchestra for the first time. I was always interested in conducting, but I was a saxophone player and I didn't really know what the way into an orchestra was. What I did know is that I love the sound of an orchestra from my dad playing William Tell Overture at full blast in the car on our road trips. And weirdly enough, the school orchestra at the time was rehearsing William Tell Overture. My music teacher was generous enough to invite me along to watch the orchestra rehearse. I came with a score. I had highlighted random bits. I didn't really know what I was doing, but he could tell that I was interested. Lucky for me, my teacher was going away on long service leave, so he actually invited me to conduct the school orchestra at our school concert series. And even luckier, this performance was invited to be part of a diplomatic exchange performance at the Sydney Opera House. So when I was 15, I got to conduct Rossini's William Tell Overture with my school orchestra on the concert hall stage of the Sydney Opera House. Here's the Opera Theatre and here is the concert hall. And then in the middle here is the green room with some of the best views in the world. Real source of inspiration. And if that's not a gateway drug to conducting, then I don't know what is. So I think this guy represents the Australian mentality of chilling the hell out and not taking life too seriously. It's how I like to go about my music making as well. What are we getting out of the fridge? Come on, Kate. Here, hold the sauce. More sauce. Give me sauce. When I'm studying a score, I do it in silence, but at the same time, I'm really trying to imagine or embody the music and think of the physical vocabulary that each theme may occupy. For example, in the first movement of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony, after the Fate motif, the first theme is very it's very searching and it's very slinky. It's like a black cat. It's looking for something, whether the second theme, it's much more buoyant and it exists in a more fluid space. And I try and see how these different characteristics fit into my body language, because at the end of the day, my job is to inspire the orchestral players in as little words as possible. I love talking, but I want my physicality to show the players how to play the music. And I think that's the magic of conducting, is this physical vocabulary that we then share with the orchestra. This is the Sydney Conservatorium of Music, and this is where I studied my saxophone degree. Just down the road is the Opera House in the Sydney Harbour, so it's an amazing location to go to uni. But what's more, this is also where I started Ensemble Apex, and we were just a small group of friends, and over the last 8 years we've developed it into a professional organisation.
Oh, it's not connected. Okay, it's fine.
Tonight we're performing Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony. This is an unusual performance where the audience will be sitting amongst the orchestra. But before that, we've got our general rehearsal. All right, everyone. So what time is it? Is it
I know you still have 5 minutes. Keep hanging out.
Many of the colleagues that I met at the conservatorium are still in the orchestra today, now performing in orchestras around Australia like Queensland Symphony, Melbourne Symphony, and we all come back to Sydney to perform these Apex concerts together. One of the most inspiring parts of my music making.
Oh, Sam. Sam is someone who's very much himself. He sort of inhabits his body and his world as who he is.
Sam has like a very contagious love for music and great energy that is very difficult not to be affected by, and so it's always really worthwhile. He gives so much energy to the players.
He's always looking at us for eyes. He always wants more interactions. He cares about people and music foremost.
So welcome to the office. This is where the most serious musical discussion happens, at the famous Courthouse pub in Newtown. No subject is too great or too small to be discussed. From the fabled tales of Sisyphus and the Trojan horse, all the way down to, if Mozart was in the Beatles, would he be Ringo Starr?
I've never heard you chat more fluently about such nonsense in my life. That's unbelievable. You've never formed a sentence that long ever.
There's also just like, there's no way that Mozart would be
Ringo?
Ringo.
Why not?
Where does that question come from? Is that a thing?
No.
People, right? You've just come up with this?
What do you think a conductor does?
I've always thought the conductor is like trying to get to the bottom of the music, and they do all the behind the scenes work, and it's up to them to like find what the truth is in the music and figure out the best way to bring that out of it.
Here's my sister over there.
My opinion of what a conductor does is very much guided by what I see you do, and I think it's knowing when the orchestra needs guidance. My favorite thing when I see conductors is when they don't do anything, they just let them rock, and then they go, and then they let something loose. It's good.
Or something like that.
That's the one you do that I like a lot. The big face.
The concert was a bloody ripper. It was probably the best Tchaikovsky experience I've ever had. I was sitting kind of at the front, so I got to see all his facial expressions and all the different moods he brings out of the orchestra. I feel like he really puts character in every single piece.
I think everybody should sit on that side of him and see him conduct. The emotion, the energy, everything there.
So we've seen a concert in Sydney, now it's time to do a concert Amsterdam style. Let's go. I've lived in the Netherlands since 2020. My heart stays in Australia, but I guess half of my heart is also in the Netherlands. I moved to Amsterdam to study with Ed Spaniard, Kenneth Montgomery and Jacques Van Steen. And it's through that program that I was able to get so much experience with professional orchestras, and it sort of cemented me within the Dutch orchestral scene, and I feel very lucky to be working so often with the Dutch orchestras now. So, here we are at the Dutch Sydney Opera House. No, of course, this is the Concertgebouw, more than 100 years before the Sydney Opera House. And today I'm actually making my debut with the amazing Radio Philharmonic Orchestra. We're doing the Sunday morning concert. I often hear the Dutch talking about the lack of funding for orchestras and art, but compared to Australia, it really is still a utopia for me. And that's something that I hope will change in Australia. Australia's geographical isolation is a curse. It's also a blessing in that we have a really insular and well-connected artistic community. Since Australia was colonised, we've had so many waves of immigrants that have had a profound impact on the landscape of Australia. In Europe, it's so important for me to uphold my Australian heritage and bring the enthusiasm I get from Australian culture and the Australian scene to Europe. And I hope that's evident in my artistic practice. That's a good one, that's deep. Yeah.